number of you and eventually managed to.
Knight c3 was the last move. This is still a position that they both might have reached previously, I think. Even Jakovenko. I mean, in Magnus Carlsen's repertoire, the London system is very frequent.
Is that a London system though? Because I'm sorry, but I mean I might have misled you because this pawn on c5. That means probably it was some sort of a. Now,
so what was the move order?
Yeah, I really need to see the.
We thought from the camera view that he's playing once again.
Yeah, when I've
London.
seen this bishop on g3,
yeah,
which
I thought
was already like bishop f4, bishop
It made complete sense that he's playing it once again. Let's see the move order because we missed the opening.
Yeah, trying to do so. One more time. Have difficulties. So we can see the blue board, the actual position. Yes. So what to do for black? To start capturing pawns in the center. Yeah, that's once again a very interesting situation. This pawn on c5 and d5 against c4 and d4. The first who starts to capture will define the pawn structure, right? So you can say you are now it's black to move. So black can take d4 and then c4, and white gets an isolated pawn.
I think that's what he's going for. So, it's funny though that d takes c4 is a move that you say, I would like to make that move, but maybe I would like to make it after the bishop has moved. Yeah, so you don't want to develop the bishop.
Yeah, but I was just to say that if black would play knight c6, then it's white who can start by taking d5 and then taking c5, and black would have an isolated
so you can't wait for the bishop to move.
And in fact, none will have an isolated pawn because after dc4, Magnus replies with dc5. So after bishop c5, most likely bishop c4, and Magnus will try to squeeze that. Well, yeah, bishop c4. Magnus will try to squeeze something out of this. Well, potentially an ending. I don't see queens. Black will avoid exchange of queens. Bishop c4 was played, and Jakovenko also played a move a6, and sometimes you just play a6, b5, bishop to b7.
It's interesting how these positions always start out as like looking very boring, and then they end up being very interesting because it's not obvious where you place which piece, and it's not completely symmetrical.
Yeah, they have a reputation of being boring because once again in the history of chess, let's say a Catalan opening, for instance, which is a very rich opening and used by the top names in 1970s, it had a reputation of absolutely boring opening because you would exchange C and D pawns, you would exchange most of the pieces and also the rooks, the queens, the minor piece, and it would be a quiet draw. But if you play even these calm positions, if you play for a win, then of course you create the tension and it gets interesting. Might be not that spectacular as a Sicilian with opposite castles, but for us who understand chess a bit, it's very interesting to see those little subtleties.
It is true. We have.
Yeah, queen b6 was the last move, in fact, attacking the pawn on d6. And we were, I mean, if we are allowed to go back a little, we were right in a way that it was a London system.
Then we are not.
And at the same time, it does look like a Queen's Gambit. I mean, when you play c4, I mean, somehow I still refer to a London system, this thing with c3.
Yeah, I also tend to say that that's the London.
Even though nowadays, when it became very popular, then already this people describe as being a London system, developed the bishop on f4. Okay, nevertheless, that's the position now, and white has to decide how to keep the pawn on d6, which might be not easy.
No, it isn't. You can't go queen d2 because there's knight e4. I think he doesn't really want to be protecting this pawn. Maybe some knight e5, knight g5.
I'm thinking maybe knight g5 because, for instance, you can't take immediately the risk queen h5, double attacking
like
h7 and f7. It's just that after h6, you probably will have to face another tough decision. Because if you go knight e4, you are still alive. You do not lose d6 immediately because you keep attacking. But rook a7, rook d7, you probably don't save it. Yeah. No way
I don't think
whatsoever.
He wants to play a heavy piece endgame where he's about to lose the d pawn.
Well, some moves were played, and Magnus went b4, which is a nice move apparently, because you probably don't want to put the knight on a4. Jakovenko, at least he very quickly played knight to d7. At least now this pawn is not hanging, but
that's an improvement.
the knight goes to d5. And if it lands there, then you can forget about this d6 pawn.
He should go very active somehow, but you can't go knight d5 right now. You have to wait for knight f6, and that I don't like, because next move is knight d5, as you said. Maybe knight g5, but once again h6
Something
should be
like
counted.
this, and well,
Knight
one day
e5, he does
knight
go for
e5
it.
he goes. So now if black exchanges and plays rook a7, white is in time to protect the pawn.
That's true. And
is in
this is a
time.
huge difference. You don't drop the pawn, and your pieces are more active.
Yeah, even though I'm not sure if white wins here.
No, I'm not saying it, but he cannot lose it either.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can play queen c5 at some point.
Yeah, right. Actually, there is queen c5. Yeah, so it's white who is playing.
White
who
is
is
playing
trying,
for a
that's
win.
right.
That is definitely the case.
And Jakovenko made the move, and it doesn't look like he took on e5.
No, I think he did not. It's not arriving yet. But we shall soon see what happened exactly. Rook ac8 was his last move. So the rook to c8 and
A to c8, bringing more pieces in.
I guess he wants to ask
white
Magnus
play rook
what
f to
does
e1?
Yeah, he can. He played rook d2. He wants to double rooks on the d5,
I thought rook
which is
e1,
logical.
you know, to have
Some tricks
some
like
ideas,
this.
right? But okay, rook d2.
Knight takes e5, queen takes e5.
So that was played. And well, I have to say, Jakovenko is very good at those endings. I mean, it's not the guy you outplay just because you play better. You have to have something. So he's not the right type of a guy to lose, let's say, the equal ending.
I think it was clever to play rook c8 first. And you don't want to go rook d8 because that pawn is protected anyway. So you control
rook
the c5,
c6
maybe
you'll
rook
play.
c6. And in general, to control the c5, so there will be no white rook appearing on the c file.
Yeah, and probably
Rook f
like
d1 and h6 quickly
H6, yeah.
played by Jakovenko.
not to have any worries about the back rank. And then indeed he puts the rook on c6. Also he prevented queen c5, the move you mentioned. And then black might even play something like a5, exchange pair of pawns, and just hover around waiting for white to demonstrate the progress, if there is any way to make progress.
Not easy. Let's go back to the
Back
other
to
top
Aronian,
board. G4, wait a second, before we go, there's a pawn push on the king side.
g4.
Is he playing G5?
Well, he plays, if he's allowed, he plays rook d3 and then g5. So
Yes,
that takes and
around
will
that king.
try to bring.
Now that would change the story completely because
But I think black has this. Queen d8, still
starting
keeping
to
an
be
eye on
very
this
emotional
pawn,
about
and
this
then rook
attack.
c6. No, it won't be that easy. I mean, you might dream of the attack on the king side, and actually it is.
Queen e4.
Queen d8 was played, yeah, in queen
now queen
e4.
e4.
Queen e4, at least preventing rook c6, which is a perfect timing for this move, because let's say you do something. Oh, okay, I'll play g3 instead, let's say. Then black plays rook c6, and now you can't move the queen much. You can just go to f4 or e5, otherwise the pawn will be lost. So
And what if after queen e4, rook c4?
rook c4.
You
We
need
should
to
ask.
go rook d4.
You should ask Magnus, because yeah.
Because there could be some pins like
No, there
rook
is no
takes
rook
d6.
d4. There is no rook d4
Rook
because
takes-
there is rook d4. Pardon. So after rook takes, you take with the queen, right?
I was trying to make the pin work, but
Rook
it doesn't.
d6, but it
No, it
doesn't
doesn't
seem to.
work.
There is a check. Yeah,
No, it
let's
doesn't
show.
work.
Takes, and then you want to take,
Yes,
and
it
it's a
doesn't work.
check. And queen goes here,
It's a pity.
and rook goes here.
If the g4 pawn was on h2, then it would work.
And then rook c1 in the end. Yeah,
Almost.
almost worked. Queen e4. Okay, so some slight pressure still, I would put it this way.
I think this is the kind of position that Magnus enjoys. We always say it, and I think it's just a fact. He must be happy here.
Okay, let's check Aronian. Let's check Aronian against Mamedyarov, because, yeah, something must have happened here. After queen d4, Aronian lost the harmony, so to speak. e4, bishop d8, takes, king g8, and all of a sudden trapped the horsey. D6,
giving up the rook, offering the rook, but you cannot never take it because this pawn
takes, and it's d2. So,
beautiful play by
Aronian
Mamedyarov.
overtaken by Shahryar Mamedyarov. So.
Yeah. It was a very interesting game. We thought first that Aronian was doing fine, but we did not see this queen d4 coming. We were excited about the exchange sacrifice on e6, but maybe it was not as good as it seemed. Rook takes e6, and afterwards this queen d4 was a very important defensive move.
Okay, and I can see things are heating up in Carlsen's game, at least by the body language of the players.
Oh, queen endgame.
Queen endgame.
Where quality is more important than quantity. There's only one pawn for white, but that's on d6.
Absolutely. So, well,
king b6
minus 5 pawns. How about that? But this d pawn promotes. It's a very instructive, must be very, very instructive ending. Because remember, there was this passed pawn on d6, and everything else was equal.
Yes,
was a lot of
pawn. He kept only that pawn.
That's impressive. Yeah, we were talking about this pawn to fall or not to fall, and in fact, white lost or sacrificed all his other pawns, but this d pawn, the crucial pawn, remained.
Interesting. And now the question is if black has any chance of
no chance, I can
giving
see.
more checks. But I'm also afraid for Jakovenko that he can simply, that Magnus can simply hide his king on c8 or on b8, and then
king
put
b7. You play king b7 after this check. You can play queen c6 as for now. Yeah, after queen f2, king b7 was played. I don't see a chance for Jakovenko. I mean, this pawn promotes into queen, so you have
b4.
b4.
Played.
Ah, it's like two queens and no. b4. What's this idea?
It's
d7.
not fast enough. d7, b3, d8, b2, and you are just one move short.
Queen d3, right? What's the point? Hang on. This? No, this I can't play. After this check, queen c6 is a possibility. So d7
Let's see what happened, because our blue board is showing the current position with b3, but
b3.
I think Magnus has made a move already. Let's just d8 queen. What's the point after b2?
Queen d3 check, and I don't see any point, to be honest.
So that's why you would like to give queen f3.
No, queen f3, queen c6 once again. It's only one check. So it's a lost position. As simple as that.
But they're calculating something. Is there a trick that we are missing?
Now it's Jakovenko to move, according to the blue board we see.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if there is...
Yeah, Magnus is not fully relaxed. He doesn't look...
It's not like
he doesn't look fully relaxed. Yeah, he doesn't look like waiting for resignation. So there must be something that bothers him.
But what is
it? No, he's to move, in fact.
Queen f5.
Queen f5 in a position like that, with pawn still being on b3. Come on, it mustn't be serious. So queen c3.
Maybe he wants to go queen b5 and b2. But even like that, there's always... finally he resigned.
So Magnus wins against Dmitry Jakovenko, but he's on only 5.5 points. So I'm wondering if it will be once again a streak of 4 consecutive wins. In which case,
let's see that. Can we bring back our analysis board and see how he sacrificed all those pawns and kept only the d6 pawn?
I'm not sure of this.
There we have it. So h6, we saw it.